Now, the Center for Advanced Technologies is a public magnet program. We attract students from the school district as a whole, and they come down to our program, which is a science, technology, engineering, and math program in conjunction with the regular school at Lakewood High School. My students, you have to understand that in the United States, we stopped teaching geography. So they think the rest of the world doesn't understand where the United States is. So they made this little graph to show you, this little video of showing you exactly where we are. So if we go, there we are, right there in Florida. There's the Pinellas Peninsula, and that's us. We are at the very southern tip of Pinellas County, Florida. You stand on our roof, you get to see beautiful Tampa Bay, Sunshine Skyway Bridge, you get to see seagulls landing on top of you, and occasionally you get to see Air Force One landing at MacDill Air Force Base, which is right across the bay for us, because it's kind of neat. So what is our program? Well, the Student Network Assistance Program is a program where they collaboratively research and integrate specifically designed solutions using SharePoint that benefit the entire campus community. In a mouthful, that's a mouthful of saying, I turn them loose and they've designed anything that we can think of using SharePoint. To give you an idea what we do, excuse me, I'm a little cold up here, believe it or not. What we do, Microsoft came and spent 3 days on campus with a full video crew filming what my students do, getting a flavor. And it was a video that was presented at SPC 14 in Vegas this past March. I'd like to show you that video now.
Everything's moving to the cloud. Applications, graphics.
All the information is just right there, readily available, accessible, wherever I am.
I think technology will be seamlessly integrated into everyday life.
There is no typical day in the CAT program. We are exactly a homegrown science, technology, engineering, and math program. We were STEM before STEM became popular. It is a pure exercise in project-based learning. They run the school network, the school websites, they develop applications.
The collaboration that we do with other people really builds up strong relationships between the students.
They learn at their pace, they learn from their peers, they learn from their own research to adapt, to improvise, and to expect the unexpected.
Mr. Zulli gives us a lot of freedom to do what we want to do with our work. The assignment each day is to just work on my project.
Every project that we do has to have something to do with our campus. It has to meet a real-world need.
We built a hall pass system to increase manageability of students.
They've built a printer map to make it easy to access a printer. They have built a student schedule program where they can actually build their next year's schedule. They are designing solutions to make something easier for the teacher, make something easier for the students.
Having experience in SharePoint is going to be useful when I apply for jobs in the future.
My experience with SharePoint has helped me create problem-solving skills.
Compared to a lot of other students who will have similar academic accomplishments, but none of this experience, I'll definitely have a leg up on them.
Students want to make a difference. They want to be part of something that leaves a legacy. Without SharePoint, we couldn't do what we do. It is absolutely the canvas that my students use to build their solutions.
So when they were on campus at that time, and we had this production crew, it just was the talk of campus, and all of our, they were always in there. They were taking all of these pictures. Students from other parts of the program were dying to get into the video shots. Teachers were coming down to see what was going on, and our district got word of it, and they brought people down, and believe it or not, it was the first time our superintendent really got to see what my students have done. So it took a little bit of external prompting to get our superintendent of schools to come down and visit us. But to give you a little note, we've been using SharePoint since 2001. We started using it because we needed a way and a method to get the information that our teachers had into the hands of our students. And that's predominantly what we've always used SharePoint for. It has become our learning management system for our kids and our teachers. So as you see here, we went and use, after 2001, we did a little-known product called Class Server 2002. It didn't meet our needs as much as we thought it could, so we jumped right back into SharePoint, and all of the versions that you see we developed for, we used and developed for. It was when SharePoint 2010 came along, and how many of you are still using SharePoint 2010, just as a curiosity? Great. How many of you have gone on to SharePoint 2013 on-prem or Office 365? Wonderful. The solutions you are going to see are both based in 2010 and 2013. We developed them originally in 2010, and we have now gone and moved them over to the 2013 platform. So you're going to see a little bit of both. But it was when 2010 came out that my students said, "Oh, Mr. Zulli, you cannot believe how we can access that data. You know, lists, libraries, all of this stuff becomes so transparent. We could use it any way we want to." They really got into the guts of it and decided, wow, this is awesome. So it opened up a whole realm of possibilities of what we were able to do to make our students more successful. And you're going to hear that a lot from me. What you're seeing is a complete system designed to make our students successful and our teachers more efficient to allow them to teach more. That is part of our overriding vision. So, let's talk about CATNIP to begin with. CATNIP, as you see, stands for the Advanced Technologies News and Information Program. It has actually been the name of our system since we started using SharePoint in 2001. As you notice, we started with, and I wish I was prescient enough to keep screenshots of all the different versions of this because it would have been a fascinating study in itself. But you see right here, and we'll get this here. See right here on there, that's our original CATNIP with minimal branding right out of the box. Then in 2013, still using SharePoint 2010, we rebranded it to look exactly like you see in the middle here. Very Metro modern UI style. In fact, we actually rolled this version out on October 4th, 2013. Does anybody know why that date's important? I should say October 4th, 2012. Yeah. Does anybody know why that date's important? It's when Windows 8 hit. And we actually had live tiles right here running on a SharePoint site when Windows 8 hit. It actually I sent the link up to some friends of mine in Microsoft, and it actually worked itself all the way up to Steve Ballmer's desk. That they saw that the kids had actually done that. And then this is what our new Office 365 sites are going to look like. That's going to be our splash page. We're even taking it one step further, and if you stop me in the hall, stop me at the speaker's corner, I'll be happy to show you how this has actually transformed itself into an even neater looking Office 365 experience. So, what do we use it for? We use it as a learning management system. We have to get the teachers to get all of that information, all the curriculum, into the hands of the student in the most efficient method possible. You see on my right, your left, our initial 2010 out of the box, minimal branding again. But this, ever since 2001, has been the lifeblood of our teaching LMS. It's been that SharePoint Calendar. That SharePoint Calendar is where all of the assignments, tests, homework information, all of that is located for the students. Now, in the past, they were on-prem, they were getting it through the web, they were just running into the intranet and picking it up. Well, when 2010 came out and when we redid everything, and this is a picture of our 2013 version rebranded. You notice what we have: teacher-enabled drop boxes. We have gone and put the calendar is much more extensive. We've actually included all of our digital textbooks, links right to the right on the page, and of course the shared document section. All of this is fairly common, fairly used, but as you'll see, our goal is to get this data out into the hands of the students in every way, shape, and form possible. And that's what they discovered when they found out how easy it was to work with the data and how you can get to it and manipulate it with SharePoint 2010. So, this is what the new LMS is going to look like for a teacher in 2013. And how many developers in the room? Great. You'll notice that we've given you how you'll notice on the side, everything, all the technologies we have used to create each and individual solution is now listed. I've listed it for you. So if you're a developer or an IT wonk and you can see everything in the back end, that's what that's there for. Here's our new one. This has been our mock-up, actually. And again, you want to see what it's going to look like brand new, I'll be happy to show you. But we keep the calendar. They can't live with that. But we've added a link session. Link is going to be huge. In fact, I really think it's going to be the killer app for education in that we're using it to record lectures, record sessions, do all types of distance learning and virtual office hours to connect groups and tutoring. All of that's going to be done through our link tenant. But what we've done is one of my students wrote an app that goes out and will pull all of the link sessions from the teacher's Exchange calendar and consolidate them into a very simple calendar. So a student, all they have to do is go to this calendar, click on the date, see what link sessions are going to be offered that day, and then they'll be able to click on that, which will take them right to the link session. All of that able to be brought in through just accessing the data from the Exchange calendar, which has been connected to SharePoint. But how else do you get data into the students' hands? In my session this afternoon, I have a slide, and I hope you come to it, but I'll give you a little preview. That slide shows you the saturation level of this device within high school students in the United States. Without giving you the number, I'm just going to tell you, it's pretty darn high. They live in this. We live in it now. So how else do we get the information from SharePoint into the form factor that they love the most? Well, that was the job of our mobile apps development team. They needed to find a way to get to the data listed in SharePoint, which is just lists, libraries, etc., bring that into a mobile app. And as you notice, we developed in all three versions: Windows Phone, iOS, and Android. My students say, please don't show the Android app, Mr. Zulli, it's so ugly. And I said, well, don't make it ugly. And they say, Mr. Zulli, it's Android. It can't be anything but ugly. No, that's them saying it, not me. So they actually prefer iOS and Windows Phone to develop in, and the reason why is we teach C# in our classes, so they've got a native understanding of C#, and they teach Java and object-oriented programming, so they can go with iOS and Objective-C. Even though they find it extremely difficult, they do get the idea of Objective-C. But you'll notice what they've been able to do is access the data from the SharePoint site. Now this is just pulling it out, reformatting it, and putting it in a form factor that they have. All of the teacher information, all of the tests, you'll see, everything is there listed for them very easy to access. Unintended consequences. Who do you think loves this the most? Who'd like to get a guess here? No. Parents. Parents love this. Parents have downloaded these versions. I can't tell you how many times. We always get emails saying, thank you so much. The reason? They now know what's expected of their student, their son or daughter. They can now see that they have a test or that's due. They now can see what's going on. Really transparent. So they love it. So they go home and say, hey, did you complete your math assignment for Mr. Penkethman? And the student goes, no. And they say, well, get up there and get to work. But we also needed to make that data available to our external users via web. So we are using SharePoint as our external site as well. So how did we grab that data out of our internal site and send it as easily as you could to the external site? Well, this is our SharePoint Online. We used Mark's SB Services next door, all of that you see here, and we've been able to take the data and bring it over, and all of it, if you're on a website, if you're on a desktop or laptop, all you need to do is go down, click you'll see it pulls how many assignments are in the calendar. We'll go to Miss Lake. You see the assignments for that day, and you can click on it, see all the information that you want. If there is an attached document, you'll be able to access and download that document. Again, we did this for the parents. Parents, really, we found that they kept saying, we don't want another login. Please give us a way that we can see assignments without having to log into your system. And so my students came up with this information. And if you're really interested in the way we did this, I'll let you know. Grab me in the speaker's corner. It could get a little technical, but it was really they found a very elegant way of getting this data out there without compromising security. So, one of our visions is to make all of our students successful. And one of the things that our system does is to make paper form and putting it online. Our goal is to become a completely paperless campus. We saw that Vodafone video in the keynote. I tweeted out real quick, that is the model of the school that should be right now. That's my opinion, but that's how it should be in schools right now, let alone in a workplace. So what we're trying to do is take a very complicated, an old method we had, a very complicated forms-based method, and creating our student schedule builder, which will allow a student to actually choose their schedule via all the courses that they are capable of taking by their grade level, store it, have them retrieve it. Once it's been brought in and they feel that they're happy with it, they hit submit. It goes out and kicks off a SharePoint workflow. This workflow then notifies the parent that says, here's your schedule, your son or daughter's schedule. That then, once they approve that, it comes back into the system through an email-enabled Dropbox, picked up by a workflow, sent to the guidance counselor saying, this schedule now has parental approval. Guidance counselor checks it online. Once they have said everything is good, they click it and it sends it to the student information system as a schedule request in the schedule request bucket. Their processes down at the district then pick it up and put it into their student information system. My students, specifically the team that created this, and you met one of the head developer on that team, Lauren Hastings, did all of that on their own. It took a year and a half, but they were able to develop this process all on their own. And you'll see the demonstration right about now. It's all touch enabled. They just pick the class, drag it into a box. They get a nice visual tile representation. And we did this because a lot of our students are getting tablets, so we wanted to make it very easy for them to work with on a tablet. Not only does it keep track of all the courses you have taken, it keeps track of what, if you need a semester course, once you've taken one. It'll even kick it back and say you don't have the prerequisite of this course. All of this data is sitting in lists and libraries, and we grab all of the course data from the student information system as well. So we've actually started to do some data connectivity. The students have started using data connectivity between two different systems. This is an example of what you see. When it's all finished, stored, they could bring it up at any time. It also keeps track of credits to graduation. So a student at a glance could pull it up and say, I've met my graduation requirements. Necessity is the mother of invention. And in this case, it was the beginning of our very first, this is our very first full-scale project. I was sitting in a meeting at the beginning of school one year, and we were told that the district and our school district and our local admin team have decided that all lesson plans had to be kept online. They wanted an archived version of every lesson plan. Their solution was to have a teacher. Now, I have no qualm in saying this. Teachers are overworked worldwide. They are asked to do quite a lot. Well, now they were going to ask them to print out their lesson plan, scan the lesson plan to a PDF, then store the lesson plan in a file share. I stood up in that meeting and said, no, we're not going to do that. Let my team and I come up with a better method. And so we sat down and we designed our online teacher lesson planner. Now, I'm kind of sorry about this. This has been a compressed video. And this version we no longer use, as you'll see the new version coming up. But using InfoPath, Visual Studio, HTML, JavaScript, everything that you see up there, we actually created a lesson planner. What we did is we went out to the state site, the state of Florida site, brought down all of the benchmarks and essential questions for every course taught on our campus, imported that into SharePoint list. Boom, went right in there. Then we took the master schedule and who's teaching what and put that in a list. Then we just had our regular faculty list, so that as soon as a teacher would log in and go to this page, it would read the person's name, then go and see what courses they taught. Then once they knew what courses they taught, they would preload all of the essential benchmarks and questions, so that the teacher, all we would have to do is select the course and then just start doing tick marks on what they were going to be teaching, as you'll see here. I know it's blurry. You'll see a much better version coming up, but they give the date range. All of these here are actually the benchmarks for the course being taught. And again, I do apologize for the fuzziness. The next version, you'll see a much better and clearer way of it. Then you see here, those are the essential questions. That is all of the different types of external devices that they're going to be using for it. They write it out, and then it's stored as an InfoPath form. Well, we developed this, and we were now moving to SharePoint 2013. Whoa. We're now moving to SharePoint 2013, so we had to redo it. We wanted to make it all client-side instead of using SharePoint, instead of using InfoPath. So we redesigned the entire lesson planner, and now you'll get to see a very clear, I hope, version of how it's worked. So they're going down to check me. See, here's an already archived version of everything I had done. Let's create a new one. So we're going to go down to Mr. Likens. Mr. Likens, or now we're going to go down to Mr. Tenza. He's our AP Computer Science teacher. Now it's gone on and it's loaded up a form. Chooses the grade level, selects the course, gives the length of the lesson, and then there are the benchmarks and standards. So now all they have to do is load the benchmarks, and it will automatically populate it. Loads essential questions, and it populates it. Then they put the entire information of the lesson agenda, the activator, explicit instructions, etc. It is archivable. It is searchable. Unintended consequence, we have teachers collaborating more closely. So a teacher does an English exam, is setting up an English lesson. They're going to the social studies teachers and searching their stuff to get the English lesson to work with the social studies lesson. We have the physics teacher now closely aligning themselves to the calculus teacher. We're now having all of the different fine arts. We've got the journalism department collaborating with the multimedia department. It's amazing. It's making our students more successful because now they're accessing it and now they know exactly what they're supposed to be learning. So we have transparency on the student side, on the side of everything. The district's happy because now they can see it. In fact, they've opened it up so that other teachers in other schools can see this information to see what's being taught down at Lakewood High School. All of it's searchable, all of it's archivable, all of it is done with standard lists and libraries and the code written in SharePoint. All done by a team of students because they were working with the teachers in developing this solution. There are two SharePoint installations on our campus. One you just saw was the LMS, the lesson management system, called Catnip. The other one is a more traditional type of intranet called LHSNet. LHSNet serves the entire campus community. It is primarily there for management of day-to-day activities and of, I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied right now. It allows the teachers to try and get the functions of the campus, make it easier for them. So what we have here is our straight SharePoint 2010 out of the box with minimal branding. We have our bell schedule. We are in block scheduling, so everybody wants to know what time it is, how many minutes left in class. Of course, we have the faculty time clock, announcements, etc. But this was not very successful. As I will say as I will point out in my next session on user adoption, we did a lot of testing with the teachers to find out what was being used, how it was being used, how many clicks did it take. All of this went into the design of our new version, LHSNet. You'll see that is the brand new version that we rolled out, and it was an amazing hit because of how easy it was to see and access information based on the icon method. All of that. They wanted to be able to go to it, glance at it, click on it, and get to it. And isn't that truly how all intranets should work? Be able to get to the information as fast as possible. What application, what form, what do you need to get to? And so that's how we developed this. So that brings us to probably our most complicated and our most asked for solution. In the United States, we have what are known as hall passes. To be able to leave class, you have to have a written hall pass to leave. It has to have the destination and the time out. Now, this is really cumbersome, and it was always took away from instruction time for the teachers, because they would have to stop what they were doing, write out this blue hall pass, send out the student. When they came back, they would have to collect the hall pass. It also meant that we didn't know who was in the hallways at any one given time. We didn't know if they were legally out of the class, if they were roaming the halls trying to skip class, or what was going on. So we decided, and my team and I, we kind of came up with a thought that since SharePoint has become so accessible and so usable with 2010, why don't we give a stab at creating a hall pass system? We went to our we went to our local admin team, laid out our idea, pitched the product, and they said, go for it. We'll support you. And they gave us the funding to do it, in that we now issue, down here you see, picture hall passes. Student picture, this is the general one. We have specific ones for teacher assistant, or even my network assistants that allow them to do specific things. But we have the general hall pass, which is just, and it's got a magnetic stripe on the back, which is encoded on has their student number encoded on it. Very simple. Through a USB reader connected to the teacher's laptop or computer, all they do is go up and they swipe it, and it immediately generates a hall pass. Now the default is go to the restroom. The default time is 10 minutes. Why is it 10 minutes? Because a teacher at the very end of the farthest part of campus actually walked to the bathroom, sat there, walked back to her classroom, and said 10 minutes. That's all we should need to be able to get these out, are 10 minutes. So that's how it was decided on 10 minutes. I said, fine, that's it. But we also have a sliding scale, as you'll see when you see the demo. So in SharePoint, we uploaded everybody's picture on campus. If they didn't have a picture, we gave them the typical icon. We also went and we uploaded the master schedule of every student on campus into a SharePoint list. We again accessed the same staff list that we used for the teacher lesson planner. So we've got, you see how many items are in each list. And what we did find out is that we're not really giving out that many hall passes, because now teachers knew they were accountable. So through all of this technology, we built this two forms. This is what an administrator or a person that doesn't have a regular class roster will see. We're talking about admins, guidance counselors, and clerical staff that need to deal with students. This is a picture of the list. Of course, we have the data, we have all the pictures located and sorted by their student ID. And this is what it looks like for a teacher. Now, we've done all the heavy lifting for them. They don't have to search for anything, because we've already broken it up by the students in their class. Now, this is Mr. Borg, and he's going to manually send out a person on a hall pass. He says this person only needs 7 minutes, and now you see a green pass. The green pass has a countdown bar. That bar transitions, and you'll see it go from green to brown to red. Why is it going that way? We wanted a visual cue. We also have a wireless campus. And as you'll see shortly, this works because we have a wireless campus. We have listed every possible place they can go on campus. We've given them the opportunity to go there. We've even been able to now keep a history of all the hall passes given to that particular student. And that's where we have the archive. You notice this one's got all those days. Also tells us if they've come in late, if they've been on time. So all of this information is visible to anybody that accesses the hall pass system, as you see the countdown starting. So, why is it working? Well, oh, by the way, this is our new 2013 version of it. You see we've updated the look and feel. It still operates the same way. Instead of having a countdown bar, we've actually highlighted the students in the color of the pass countdown and leave them go to red. We've added you see there it is in red. This is how it looks like for the admin side of it, and we've even added a full maintenance page to allow succeeding generations of network assistants the ability to go in there and take care of all the maintenance that's needed to run the system. But what's really cool is we have mobile apps that are getting real-time data from SharePoint that enables our hall pass monitors or assistant principals to see who is out of the class at any one given time. And also we don't have any, I shouldn't say any, we have a very small, minute portion of students who are actually trying to pass themselves off as other people because now they're wearing a lanyard with their student ID around their neck and their pictures have to match. So, what we did is we started coding in iOS to get to the SharePoint data. I had two wonderful young ladies that spearheaded this project, but they kept running up against a brick wall. And it was how to post back to SharePoint from iOS. They could get the data, but they couldn't post back. So they were really running into a brick wall, had a lot of problems, until finally one of them said, you know, Mr. Zulli, there's a student here, his name's Zach Shea, who has apps already in the iOS App Store. He's a sophomore. Now that would be grade, he's about 15 years old, that would be second year high school. And I never take sophomores in my program. But as soon as they said App Store, I got up out of my desk, walked over to his classroom, I looked him up, went up to his classroom, grabbed him out of class, said, hi, you're going to work for me, aren't you? Walked him down to guidance, had his schedule changed, and he was in my room by the end of the period with a full schedule change. And then he sat there, the oldest pieces of equipment that you have, because that's all it can handle anymore is just print queues. But when that goes bad and you have to bring another one up, you have to go about and find a way to get that printer out to everybody. Well, I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than trying to explain that to a group of 125 teachers who don't care if they can't, how to print. All they want to do is to print. So our print server went down. And our IT team looked at it and they said, Mr. Zulli, we absolutely do not want to have to explain to Dr. Hewitt and Mr. Launchy how to connect to their printer. Now these, by the way, are two amazing teachers, absolutely phenomenal teachers. The teachers I want my kids going to, but they are technophobes, they're Luddites, they don't want anything to do with technology. So they really get frustrated. So we had to come up with a method that would allow our teachers to just go and access the printer. So we created our printer map. What you see here, this is SharePoint 2010. This is a Silverlight version of it. We mapped the school in Visio, created an image map, and then put a location where every printer is in school. We have first floor, second floor in the offices. So what the end user does is they come in, they bring up this map, they find the printer that they're closest to, they click on the printer, it kicks off a script that automatically maps the printer back to the print server. We use universal drivers, so if the universal driver is already on the device, so be it. If not, it'll upload install the universal driver, makes it their default printer, and they print. It was our solution. This is our new HTML5 version, which does the exact same thing. And this is a demo. Whoop, back, gotta show the demo. Sorry about that. And this is our demo. And you'll see at a full screen effect that we set this up. Excuse me while I take a drink. So, you go into Campus Printer Map, you load it, there's a version of it, you click on it, there's a printer icon, you click on the printer icon, click open. We've since gotten rid of that warning message, and notice right here, there it is. And the person's up and running and printing with just a couple clicks. That has been adopted by our IT department at the district for all of their business offices. So, and that code is actually on CodePlex. So all you have to do is go to CodePlex and search CAT program, and you'll be able to get the code. Of course, what would our sites be without having public-facing sites? And our public-facing sites are all SharePoint, and there was a reason we wanted to do that. We wanted to share information between the internal sites and the external sites. We did not want anybody that has the information, wants to share the information, having to go mess around with the external sites. So what we did is all the lists and libraries on the internal sites for announcements, calendar, etc., have the exact same structure on the external sites. And so our students wrote workflows and a little bit of code, and on the internal site, if a person wants to put in an announcement, person wants to put in a calendar event, the coach wants to put something in about the football team, etc., all they have to do is then click a little check mark that says external, and it automatically replicates that data to the external site, and you see the information right in the appropriate place on the external site, so that there is no going into the external site by anybody that could probably screw things up. Once we've published it, the page, we really didn't want anybody going back into it, so we just have all of the back-end plumbing being used through our intranet site, LHSnet or Catnip. And as you see, this is our new site, and this is the new live site for Lakewood High School, all based in SharePoint 2013. Of course, responsive design is extremely important, and all of our sites now are using responsive web design. That way, they can be presented on any mobile device, any device whatsoever being used. Again, get the information out as best you can to the form factor that people like to use. So that is just some of the solutions that my students have generated. Would you like to meet the team? This is the team. These are the ages that they were when they started working with me. These are the team of young developers and IT people that I feel so good about, because they just get it. and they are wanting to work, and they just, I really do believe our future's in great hands after dealing with students like this for the last, 37 years. 25 years in my present position. So what have we learned, and what are we living? Students want to make a difference. Give them the right project, and they do incredible things. Make the project meaningful. Let it serve purpose for the campus community. Now, I want you to always think of how you can apply those same things to your business. IT staffs get the project they want, the IT department wants to make a difference. Give them that right project. They will do those right things. It will be incredible. Make it meaningful. Learn to listen. If your students have a better way, do it. If they have an idea, let them explore it. That should be done across the board in every possible scenario. For the IT people out there, invest in success early. Make sure you have the infrastructure to guarantee uptime, and have a development farm. You've seen the SharePoint app, our Hall Pass app? Well, we were testing that forever, it seemed. We had a group of teachers that were working with it. We were testing it and testing it. We were working out the bugs in the code. We were figuring out the best way to get this deployed. And then you know what? We got it. The day we're ready to go live, all 125 teachers, they've gone through special training on it. They've gotten everything. They've been using it. So we go live. We're watching the servers. And we're standing there. And we're watching the monitoring. And processing goes click up and up and up and up. And then pegs at 100%, brings down the servers. And I'm standing there, and I'm looking at that, and the students are dead silent. And then I just break out laughing. I go, well, I really screwed the pooch on that one, didn't I? I did not calculate something properly. Something went wrong. So my IT team immediately jumps into gear. They bring up 4 more virtual servers, install SharePoint, patch it to the right level, join it to the farm. We now have got everything going through. I set up the DNS load balancing, so now everything is ready to go. 1 day later, we turn the key again, and all breathlessly wait, and we see it go up, and then the other server kicks in, up, and then everything is working fine. If we would have had our development farm done properly, we would have known that issue because we would have been able to stress test it. So it did do a great teaching moment for the kids, but it was wonderful. It was a little bit of a pain point. And then, of course, this is our favorite saying. Every situation is different, but there is no harm in failure. I have not failed. I found 10,000 ways that won't work. Is Thomas Edison's famous quote about designing the light bulb. That is on our wall in our room, and that's what we always ensure. I don't care if people make mistakes. I don't care if they fail, because they learn from failure. This is the generation that grew up with video games. This is the generation that expects failure and learns from failure and then just keep going. We could all learn a lesson from them about how to bounce back. So this is one of our biggest takeaways. Here's my contact information. I'll be at the speaker's corner. If you'd like to talk to me at any time offline, please do. If you want to come up here, I'll be happy to give you my card. I'm happy to talk to you at any point about what we do and how we do it. And I don't think we have any time left for questions. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And Well, maybe we do have some. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Please send me your presentation because I think I feel I need to share it with so many people. And although I've got snippets, I don't feel I can portray it quite as neatly as you.
Yeah, ma'am, it's going to be available to all the attendees, downloadable. And if you still want the full version where you can see all of the animations, just drop me a line and I'll give you I've got them on OneNote, my OneDrive, and in a public folder, and I'll just give you that link. You're quite welcome, and thank you for asking. Any other questions? Thank you for coming.